Hi, welcome back to Real Auto Reports. I'm Jonathan McGrew, and today we have the real first impressions video of the 2013 Kia Soul Exclamation. Yes, this is the top of the line Kia Soul, and we're going to tell you everything you need to know when you meet this car for the first time. So let's take a look. From the front, the 2013 Kia Soul is not different from the 2012 because they just refreshed the look of the front end with a couple key features in the front, including a wider trapezoidal lower grille and lip. There's a couple other things like the LED lights, and in the back there's even some differences that we'll cover. But the biggest things here are the HID headlights and the LED positioning lights, known in the US to us as parking lights, and then the LED turn signals, which are stacked on top of each other there in the front of this car. All in all, the car's been given a slightly more muscle look, and we think they've done a nice job keeping the funkiness of this vehicle, but giving it a little bit of a refresh in its mid-cycle. We just can't wait to see what they'll do when they redo the entire vehicle. From the side, what you're going to see is pretty much the same look and feel the Kia Soul has had since it was introduced to the market. Now, it is a little bit refreshed because of the little design things that we said in the front, and we'll get to some in the back. But some other differences you might want to know is that this car has 18-inch alloy wheels, and that's because it is the Exclaim model, or the top of the range. This car is also going to have the heated power folding mirrors and the turn signals integrated into those power folding mirrors. So that's something nice on these upper end packages. Also, this bright red color, which is really bright and really stands out, also gives you a lot of perspective here because it sets off the black window trim, the black mirror trim, and the black what is really a door ding strip trim there down the side. And I think they've done a nice job keeping the design language of this vehicle constant. From the back, what you're going to notice straight away is that this car has the new LED taillight setup, and this was also introduced on the refresh in 2012. However, it carries over to 13, and we really like this LED taillight look. It's much better than the blocky, kind of chunky look that the previous generation had. So if you have a pre-2012, maybe it's time for an upgrade. Some other things that you're going to notice here is that the rear bumper structure is a little different than the previous generation. And we'd also like to point out the rear backup camera. This car has all the options on it because it's the Exclaim model, and one of those is the rear backup camera, and it's really nice to have, especially considering the lack of visibility to some degree over your shoulder because of the headrests and this solid rear corner here with the taillights in it. So we like these additional options, and the look is quite pleasing from our opinion. From the driver's seat, what you're going to find is that this Exclaim model has a nice upgraded interior. It has the two-tone interior because it's the Exclaim model, and that means that you get the sand and black. So this is kind of a creamy color interior and then the black to set it off. And it's a nice upgrade. It makes this car feel much more upscale. And then, of course, with the navigation package and the heated front seats and the leather seat trim, automatic climate control, this car has pretty much everything you could want in a small urban vehicle. And yes, of course, you're going to have the stereo system with the light up front speakers. Now, on first impression, the thing that hit us straight away is that the rear speakers don't light up. So I guess your hamsters in the back don't get to have light up speakers. But otherwise, the interior is quite pleasing and pretty comfortable for an urban small car. Under the hood, what you're going to find in the Exclaim model is the 2-liter dual overhead cam 4-cylinder engine, and it's mated to the 6-speed automatic transmission with the active ecosystem. This is similar to the Hyundai active ecosystem if you're familiar with it from our other reviews, like the Hyundai Elantra Coupe.
Now, what's neat about the active ecosystem is that it'll help you get better gas mileage. That is better than the EPA rated gas mileage if you are using it as a feature that's turned on. Now, the fuel economy is going to be 23 in town and 28 out on the highway, and 25 combined. And when you get the 2-liter, you're going up to 164 horsepower, and that's up from the 138 horsepower in the base engine that comes in the Soul. So, good power and a 0 to 60 time somewhere around the low 7-second range. Pretty good for the price of this vehicle in the mid-23s as tested. Hitting the road in the 2013 Kia Soul is, it's a small car, so you do have to keep that in mind, but given that, it's pretty comfortable. The steering is our biggest complaint right off the bat. It feels like the car is top heavy and it feels like the steering is not very exact. And we noticed this most when we first got on the freeway with it. The car really gets up to speed, but it just doesn't feel as precise or as sporty as we would have thought at first. Otherwise, though, the transmission shifts well. As I said, it has good power. The Active Eco isn't too intrusive if you have it turned on, and it will help you get better fuel economy. However, you can turn it off and use the manual mode in the transmission and really have some fun with this car. It does have a pretty aggressive downshift module in it, especially when you get down to like second gear. But all in all, it's not a bad drive for an urban vehicle in a lower price point.
First impression video review of the 2013 Kia Soul Exclamation. Just to recap, this car offers a lot in personality. Of course, you get the party rock hamsters, or you can pretend to be one. The base model comes in right about $14,400, and that's the manual transmission. For the automatic is tested that we have here, you're going to be right about $23,500 and some change, because this car does have everything from the leather seating surface, the power folding mirrors, navigation, satellite radio, lit speakers, the Infinity sound system with the subwoofer. It's a great package, and it's a lot packed into a small car. And from a real first impressions perspective, it's a pretty impressive little car. Might need some tweaking in the suspension and the steering feel, but all in all, it probably will suffice for all of your in-town needs. And you can even go to the airport and put a big suitcase in the trunk. So, for Real Auto Reports, I'm Jonathan McGrew. We'll have the real video review coming up very shortly here on Real Auto Reports, so we'll see you down the road.